Hi, welcome back to another episode of Book Talks with Tash. I am Natasha, and disclaimer as per usual, if you don't want any spoilers to the books, please be warned, as I will be covering what's in the book. The book is narrated by a character named Sibia. Sibia is a young man who is facing a death penalty by hanging. His crime, sexually assaulting and raping a woman named Veronica. Sibia goes to university. As he's in university, he really, really enjoys going to the beach and hanging out by the beach. But when this, like I mentioned, this is during the apartheid time, so he hangs out like um at the edge of the beach. So the beach is divided into two. It's the whites only this side and the blacks only this side. And Sibia really likes to sit on the edge because the sun hits him differently, and he likes to watch the sunset from that angle. At the same time, Veronica, the lady who sits on the whites only side of the beach, she also likes to sit in that edge. She has her own reasons. The book never really covers Veronica's perspective in this whole thing. There's no way they can communicate. There's no forms of communication between them. However, there is non-verbal communication. They make eye contact, they smile at each other, they it gets to a point where it's become a routine for them to go to the beach and to sit at the specific angle expecting the other person to be there. And when like the other person isn't there, there's almost like a disappointment in your heart. Well, as at least from Sabia's perspective, there's a disappointment in him that Veronica did not show up. This relationship goes on for so long, and it grows to a point where one day Veronica decides to take off her bikini top, and she exposes her breasts. Her yeah, days, months go by, and Sibia recalls the first time even ever saw a white woman, or the imagination that he has for her skin to feel like, something that you can't have, and it's unattainable. You start to have these like almost delusional thoughts in your head. So he starts to have these things of, oh, her skin must feel so soft, and her hair must be so fluffy. It's something that I've never ever even felt in my life. Or she must smell like unicorns and ponies. And then the day where the actual assault happens, he goes to the beach as routine, and Veronica leads him to his bungalow. No verbal communication happens. She leads him up to his bungalow. She lives close to the beach, and he's following her, but he's following her at a safe distance to see if, okay, she's okay with this, she's not okay with this. They enter her house, they do the deed, and as they're doing the deed, her friends walk in, and Veronica screams, her white friends, Veronica screams, grape. I'm not allowed to say, yeah, no, I don't want to, yeah. So she screams that, oh, Sibia has assaulted her, and there Sibia gets arrested, and now he's in jail to be sentenced to be hanged. Hear me out. The book consistently puts you in a state where you are thinking Sibia is being punished for his race. That may be true. However, he is also being punished for sleeping with someone without verbal consent. I am a firm believer that consent, it has to be verbal. I blinked at you, I smiled at you, that's not consent. Maybe is not a yes. No is not, definitely not a yes. Kinda not a yes. Unless I say yes, then it's a yes. However, in this instant, when they get to her house, Veronica herself is the one that removes her clothes. But we have no record of this because, again, the book is written in Sabia's perspective. So the book tackles two important conversations: race and consent. Is he being punished because he's black and he sexually assaulted, raped? Sorry, I didn't mean to do that, but like, yeah, he sexually assaulted a white woman, or is he being punished for the assault itself? Personally, I think both of those things are correct. He the author does such a good job at being so poetic, and you know how people like do murder mystery conversations on YouTube, and they're able to make the conversation palatable. And there's nothing palatable about murder, there's nothing palatable about people losing their family members, but the author manages to make Sibia look like the victim in this whole book. There's even an extension of disrespect towards Veronica, because uh there's a part where he mentions that after they had sex, he came to find out that the skin wasn't as soft and she didn't smell as good. And also the fact that she is a sex worker. Veronica is a sex worker. She's a sex worker and a stripper. So in Sibia's head, he, in his own words, say, oh, she wanted it because as a sex worker, there's no way that she did not want it. Guys, there's a passage in this book. I wrote notes because I really wanted to remember this. Um, we were lovers in everything but in name. He makes it clear that the sexual acts was a mutual consent, but the girl cannot bow down to admit to have had sex with a black man. So he's taking away the fact that he had sex with someone that he's never actually had verbal conversation with. And he makes the whole thing about him being a black man. This book for me, it's a tricky one. As a black person, obviously my initial thought is, oh, especially in a setting that isn't under the apartheid ruling, my initial thought was, oh, he's being punished for being black, she wanted it. And then I'm like, wait a minute, as a woman, what do you mean I wanted it? If I didn't tell you, yes, if I did, it doesn't he's going off of insinuation. She insinuated yes, so it's a yes. Guys, it's like Lolita. If you've read the book Lolita, which is written from the perspective of a pedophile, which honestly, the author keeps trying to make you feel like there is another perspective to this. And by the way, I stand 10 toes on this. There is no other perspective when it comes to pedophilia. There's no perspective. There isn't any perspective. And Lolita is one of those books that's written in the perspective of the person having a relationship with someone of the younger age. And it's written to make you understand why he did that and the problems that he's facing and the demons that he's battling to get to that point, and how he viewed Lolita as someone that is not worthy is the wrong word, someone that is an equal for him to have sexual relations with. And Lolita is a 12-year-old girl, so it's like, no, there's no perspective. What do you mean? And in a similar way, in this book, the author is so poetic and makes it so it's so easy for you to have one perspective on this thing and say, okay, he's being punished for being black, but at the end of the day, he did have sexual relations with a woman that never verbally consented to the act. Whether she's a stripper or not, whether she's a white woman or not, the act was the act, and you should be punished. So as a woman, that's how I feel. As a black person, I'm like, hey man, they had. So I don't know, I have no solid end to what the conclusion to Mating Birds is. It's a controversial one. It's a controversial text. And guys, read Mating Birds. It's not that long. I've read it twice. I might read it a third time. I read it the first time to understand the book, the story, and then I read it the second time to kind of understand the writing style. I think now that I understand both, I'm going to read it for the third time just to completely grasp what this book, what this book is trying to say. And I would love for one of you to read the book as well and have your own perspective. Um, yeah, that is Mating Birds by Louis Nkosi, and it's an amazing piece of literature. And also the title itself, Mating Birds. Birds, the courting process of birds happens for a long period of time. The male will dance and build a nest, and okay, not build a nest, but he will dance and perform and do all these things for the woman. But the actual mating process only lasts like about 3 seconds. So the author was very clever with the title, because Sibia and Veronica, the courting lasted for several months, but the actual act itself only lasted about 5 minutes, and it was interrupted by people, and now he's in jail being hanged for sleeping with this woman. Make no mistake, Veronica in the book, she would, like I said, there was a part where she removed her top to expose her breasts. She led him to the house. Anyway, read Mating Birds. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next book talks with Tash. And yeah, happy reading, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. And mind your business.